On today's episode of Curve Ahead, I am joined by Zia Mohi, the COO of CTI Staffing, a fast-growing South Florida firm that's shaking up the staffing industry with AI innovations, nearshoring, and a no-excuse mindset. Zia's career has spanned everything from bartending post-recession to banking, being at Xerox, and leading operational growth at CTI. In just a short time, he's helped scale revenue, overhauled hiring practices, and built a future-focused team. In this episode, we talk about how AI is transforming recruiting, from resume vetting to candidate scoring, and why companies must adopt or be left behind. We also touch on why nearshoring is exploding as a cost-effective solution for non-revenue generating roles, and how CTI is opening a call center in Colombia to meet demand. If you're job hunting, you'll learn how tweaking your resume with AI could be the difference between getting ignored and getting hired. Let's dive in. Welcome to the show. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. I'm Zia Mohi. I'm the COO of CTI Staffing down here in sunny South Florida.
Can you tell me a little bit about your background? It seems like you've kind of done quite a few things, and what led you to CTI?
So my background is I am a product of a recession. I graduated college right before the bottom fell out of the housing crisis. So I was a bartender with a 3.8 GPA. And I couldn't find a job. So I went back to school, got my MBA. While I was doing that, I got into banking for a really, really nice $31,000 a year. And it was a pay cut to go from bartending to banking. But I knew in order to be to kind of grow up and go into my career, I'd have to, start wearing a suit and tie, the whole shebang. I spent 2 years at the first bank, finished my MBA there, went to the next bank for a promotion, and spent 2 years there, went to another bank for another year. And it turns out that's just the banking world. You're supposed to jump every 2 years, and that's how you move up. I didn't know that. I guess it's just inevitable. After that, my last year there, my very first cold call was to CTI. And it was to do a line of credit. First cold call I made, closed the deal. It was not easy. Our CEO is a tough cookie. He's a tough negotiator, but we got it figured out. We got it done. And we just kind of been in contact ever since. After I finished with the bank, I went to Xerox because I think I figured out I was pretty decent at sales. I didn't like the idea of being in sales. I felt like I have an MBA. I should be better than that, which is the dumbest thing you can ever say, by the way. And I think once I admitted to myself that I was a salesperson, I took it seriously, started making some good money, started leading a couple of teams, and really developed my skills, skills. Xerox started taking a turn. They were changing their direction. They were making a lot of changes that I wasn't a part of. I was up for a couple of promotions that were getting turned down. They were just being eliminated. And I think the straw that broke my back was I was supposed to take over all of South Florida. And instead they demoted my boss at the time instead of promoting me. And I was like, okay, I got to go. So I called our CEO here, had the relationship. We had a conversation and he asked if I wanted to come here. And I told him no, like I have no interest in being in staffing. He goes, no, I don't want you to be a staff. I want you to help me run the company and grow it. After about 3, 4, 5 months going back and forth on, what the expectations are, what he wanted to get done, what his vision was, I realized we were on the same page and came over in May of 23. And best decision I've made so far. We've exploded here. We've grown sales, grown profitability, grown the team. We were able to make a lot of cuts in the right places, additions in other places. It's been great. It's been absolutely great. Couldn't have asked for a better situation. The autonomy is amazing. When you work at a big corporate company, it's almost like you have to ask permission to go to the bathroom. And when you're, at a smaller company, it's more along the lines of, that sounds like a great idea. Let's give it a shot. Everything's let's give it a shot. Let's try that. Let's try that. Let's try that. Instead of like, hold on, I got to ask for permission from this person. So it's been fun. A lot of leeway. So far, we're doing very well. Very happy about it. And that's where we are today, man.
So 2 follow-up questions on that. Like, what was kind of like that key epiphany moment for you that you were like, I really am good at sales and maybe this is my path forward?
When I saw we had a big bullpen for anybody who's in sales or they know what the bullpen is. And it was just like 20 young, ambitious, well, some of them were ambitious, guys and girls, and we were cold calling, prospecting, trying to close deals. And when I realized that I was losing to somebody that I had no godly business losing to in the bullpen, it kind of lit like a fire under me. And I was like, I never want to lose to that guy again. He stinks. He's like awful. He's like an idiot. And I'm losing to him, and I didn't like that. And I'm ultra competitive. Played sports growing up, play sports now, and losing is like what do they say? Winning's great, but losing sucks. And I'd much rather not lose than win. So I just couldn't stand the idea of losing. So I just started trying, putting like some actual effort forth. And, like taking my phone calls more seriously. Stop buys were huge. Visiting prospects is massive. Anybody who wants to be great in sales, go visit your prospects. Don't be lazy. Get off your couch, get off your computer, and go visit them. I promise you, it'll make a next difference. Just visited more people than everybody else. And I just set up a goal every day. I told myself I'm going to go visit 10 people. And my goal is to visit 10. And I never want to get to 10 because I want to meet enough people that I can't get to the 10th. And my goal is if I can meet with 3 people a day, I've had a great day. And that's what kind of flipped the numbers for me.
I think that's interesting, right? I mean, having done quite a bit of sales as part of my own organization, like you set goals for yourself when it comes to outreach or this, that, and the other thing. You have a really interesting perspective on it that it's a good day when you don't hit that number because you've gotten entangled with great conversations and likely closing deals prior to being able to make that full number. And I think that that's a really interesting perspective on sales and hitting sales goals.
That changed everything. It changed everything. That guy knows, listen, it's a lot of, when you read that book, and he made it very clear, you spend your time either in appointments or trying to get appointments. And once you kind of identify that, you stop answering all your jargon emails. They're not important, I promise you. You stop answering personal calls during the day. You kind of just focus on just either being in an appointment or setting an appointment. Everything will change. So like my goal was if I go visit 10 people and I actually visit all 10 people, I had 10 really bad stop bys. You know what I mean? I had 10 really bad visits. That means whatever my pitch was bad. My goal was to get through 6. If I got through 6 and I had 3 sit downs, that's a great day. That is a great day. That means I didn't waste any gas, too much gas. I didn't waste my time, and I hopefully have 3 opportunities. That's all that it was.
Yeah, no, it's a great perspective. And then kind of back to your original intro, you had mentioned that CTI has offered you a lot of autonomy as their COO. What are some of like the cool initiatives that you've been able to like really push out or test while you've been there?
So recently it's been AI. We've been flirting with AI a lot. We've used a lot of partners for it, and it's the future. There's no other way around it. It is 100. You either get on board or sell your company now because you won't be around much longer. AI will change everything. Get on board. And for us, we've messed around a lot with AI. We've changed our hiring practices, changed our comp schedules. We've changed a lot of different things that he's like, yeah, cool, try that too. If it works, it works. There really isn't a whole lot that. Like we changed our entire banking structure because I'm like, I think there's a better deal out there for us. And he goes, well, let's go figure it out. And we were good. And we anything that makes sense, we're good to go. The only thing I haven't gotten him to change is our CRM system because he promises me our CRM can do it, but I think it can, but we'll see. I came from Salesforce. It's tough to not use Salesforce because the reporting is so good. Even a HubSpot, the reporting is so good. But this one's good. It's just, I think we need a better training on it.
Fair enough. Coming from someone who has a background in CRM, your effectiveness on how you perform in the tool comes down to training. 100%. And, oftentimes if you have an established account, like it's hard to get someone to come back out and do the training that you need because it
doesn't make financial sense to them.
Right. Yeah. And most CRMs are so complex that by the time that you are onboarded onto the platform, there are so many individual customizations for you and CTI that like they may not have the tribal knowledge to be able to come out and train you on it.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. And they want to charge you a pretty penny to do it.
Yeah. There goes $50,000.
They just, I got an offer on the table right now for $24,000 to train my team to do it. I'm like, all right, YouTube University, here I come.
So you had mentioned AI and really leaning into it. As a staffing agency, like how is it that you guys are leveraging it and like what parts of the business are off limits when it comes to leveraging AI?
So I would tell you, never say never. Don't say anything is off limits. If you can find a better way to do something, you should definitely look at doing it. Whether or not you choose to do it, that's up to you, but you should never say no. It's funny. I take every sales call. And the reason I take every sales call, one, I got a soft spot. If it's a good sales call, I'll get, I had a meeting last week with a great telemarketer. She had a great pitch, spoke well. And I said, all right, I'll give you a shot. I'll listen to what you got. Please, for God's sakes, don't hire a hard accent telemarketer in America. That's just a bad thing. But what I would say for AI, I would say look at your processes that are the most inefficient, the one that requires the most human touch. And those are the ones I'd start. So for us, I would just say resume verification. So for example, if the job description says X, it needs to have X, Y, and Z, instead of you going through and reading every single resume that you get for that position and make sure it has X, Y, and Z, AI will do that for you in 2 seconds. You know what I mean? So I've now made my recruiters X more productive. And by the way, it's free. ChatGPT offers that for free. There's a GPT for resumes. You plug in the job description, you plug in the resume, and it literally tells you how good of a match it is, or if it's not as good. I mean, it's common sense. Like, guys, it's easy. Now, there are bots that you can create that will automatically do that. So as the resume comes in, it'll automatically check it. You don't have to upload it. That's a little more expensive. That's like, I think, a $25,000 bot, and it just does it for you automatically. So your recruiters are 10 times more effective because they're not wasting their time doing remedial jobs. There's another one that does like email campaigns, text campaigns, phone campaigns. It'll do all this stuff for you. So you just kind of have to find out, like, where do I need the most help in my business? What's costing me the most money without giving me a return on investment? And how can I eliminate that? That's where I would put all my thought and process into with AI.
I would agree with you, right? Like I've spent a lot of time this past year analyzing, like, okay, what are some of the long lead items in my business? And even I don't like, sometimes I know what it is, but also like, ChatGPT is such a strong partner for me, right? I use it so heavily that I can ask it, hey, where are the inefficiencies? What should I try to automate in my business? Is it worthwhile? Do I get like the ROI to do this, to spend the time to program something to do it automatically versus me coming in and having to manually do it? And like it's able to provide you all that information.
We're scratching the surface of what it's going to be able to do. Just buckle up. It's like a roller coaster. Buckle up tight because it's going to take us places.
So conversely, do you think that if someone is interested in a position that you have posted, should they be using certain keywords in their resume to get past those initial AI detections?
Only if they want to get the job. Like I would tell every single person, if you're using one standard resume, you're never going to get a job. You can literally go to ChatGPT and say, this is the job description. This is my resume. Please redo my resume so it meets the standards of this job description. And if you're not doing that, you're going through the motions. You're never going to get a job.
Interesting perspective.
It's what's working right now.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
We even have candidates now that we know are a good fit, and we will redo their resumes for them. Obviously with their consent and everything. We'll say, hey, we're going to change your resume so it's better and it matches this. Oh, okay. Takes like 30 seconds. It's not a big deal. If I ask them to do it, it'll take them 2 weeks. So I'm like, no, I'll just do it. Save me the time.
I remember those days where like a recruiter would ask me, hey, can you redo your resume for this position? Be like, sure. No.
Our goal is to eliminate time. You can eliminate time kills all deals. If you're in sales and if you haven't heard that, time will kill all deals. Remove the time aspect as much as you can.
Yep, 100% agree. So we covered a lot of ground. Let's talk about some of the customers and roles that CTI helps fill.
So for 26 years, we have been a IT staffing firm. Like that's what we've done and done very well. When I first got here, I always have a concern of having too many eggs in one basket. So when I first got here, majority of our revenue came from one client and almost all of our revenue came from one industry. And I had a concern with that because I'm like, well, what happens if something happens in IT? That might be a hole we can't dig out of. We need to diversify what we offer. The beauty of recruiting is it's not rocket science, So it's time intensive and it's detail oriented, but it's not difficult to have somebody search for a new role. So we got lucky when I first got here. We kind of fell into healthcare insurance staffing. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with like Medicare, Obamacare, or ACA, or just any kind of insurance sales. It is an unbelievably large market all over the country. I'm in Florida. We are like ground zero for it. And what happened was we had a client that asked for like 125 people. And we're all like, whoa, That's not a little. And we knew nothing about it. And like any good salesperson, I said, absolutely, we can do that. We do that all the time. So it took us real quick to realize we've never done it before. We put a plan together. The whole team got behind it. Like literally everybody just allocated all their time to doing it. We hired 125 people in 60 days. And it was maybe one of the most profitable things we'd done as a company in years. What it also did is it diversified our portfolio. The other thing that we got into was, so there's going to be a lot of companies that are never going to adapt AI. They're just not going to. They're small companies, or they're just like, they're not computer savvy, or they're just not comfortable doing it. But at the same time, they also don't want to pay $50,000 a year for customer service or accounts payable, accounts receivable. There's a lot of positions that just because the minimum wage is going up so much that it almost becomes prohibitive to do it in the States. Now, AI is going to eventually take over a lot of those roles, but one of the things that we're very strong at is what's called nearshore. So now we've been doing nearshore developing and IT for a long time, but we've pivoted to also doing we call it CTI support. And what that is pretty much any job that is a support position for your company, like a non-revenue producing position. Even some of them are revenue producing. And what we're able to do is get that for you for like half the cost. So if it costs you like 50 grand a year for a customer service person, a QA person, a telemarketer, customer service, anything like that, we can probably get you for somewhere in the neighborhood of like 2 grand a month. And that has been a big, big hit. Because what people are realizing is I can't afford that person in my office. It costs too much. Now they're like, wait a second, I can get that person nearshore. And nearshore just means same hemisphere, same time zone, same language, just not an office. They'll be in somewhere in South America. They'll probably be in Colombia, which we're opening up a call center down there to have all these people housed there. But it's been a huge hit because now people are able, and they work directly for you. They do everything for you. We just take care of all the paperwork that goes along with hiring somebody in South America. And it's been huge. It's been able to bring our headcount up tremendously, and it's been able to create like a happier client. Because they're like, man, I could never do it. And they get one invoice. Instead of having to run it through payroll, pay taxes, pay benefits, pay unemployment, this, that, and the other, they pay an invoice once a month and it's done. So it's made their lives a lot easier. It's helped us diversify offerings. And it's worked out really, really well.
Yeah. I mean, I have definitely looked for support, right? Like mine was more, not necessarily nearshore, but definitely offshore support to help me out with some of my admin tasks that could easily be taken over by somebody else. That saves me a ton of time back and forth and just this, that, and the other thing. But yeah, I can see how being able to have the option to hire someone at a fraction of the cost is super intriguing for most businesses, regardless of the size, especially if it's something that is very easy for you to create SOPs around and have the tasks just be repeatable.
And that's what the big thing is. I want clients to focus on revenue producing activities, not on the costs. That's what we're here for.
That's fantastic. So other than AI, which we had mentioned earlier, what are some of the most significant challenges you're seeing in the staffing industry right now?
Back to office. We were spoiled as employees for 3 or 4 years. Everybody went home and everybody loved it. It was a beautiful time for the employee. They had all the power. Man, we had people, no business making as much money as they were, but there was just so few people to do it that they were getting paid crazy amounts of money to work from home. The tables are shifting and they're shifting fast. What companies have realized is the nearshore option, offshore option, which is, well, if they're going to be remote, they don't need to be in Florida. They don't need to be in Ohio. They don't need to be in California. They can be anywhere in the world. They just have to commit to working our hours. And let me tell you, they're all okay with that. So what they're realizing is instead of paying a developer $130,000 a year, I can go down to Colombia and get one for like $60,000, $70,000 a year. And I don't have to pay any benefits on them, no taxes on them. And they're like, oh, wait a second, this is very nice. But then at the same time, one of the biggest problems that we found in a lot of companies was there is a massive leadership vacuum developing in these companies. There's nobody to promote. There's such a lack of leadership across the board. And a lot of that is for 4 years, people were at home. They didn't have the direct contact with anybody in the company. They weren't building relationships. They weren't like, for me, like I've always been in the office. I sat in my boss's office every day for 2 or 3 hours a day. And a lot of it was either developing a relationship with him. Now, we had a great relationship, so that was easy. But a lot of it was just, we would talk about current events. We would talk about business. We would talk about the future. We would talk about different things. And there's a trust that builds up over time that you can't do like this. Going to lunch with somebody, it's not just, oh, we're going to get lunch together. It's you're building that relationship, you're building trust, you're building credibility with one another. And when you don't have that anymore and everybody goes home, who's the next man up? Who's the next person that's going to take over if somebody retires? And right now we're going through a massive boomer retirement. Companies are being sold for way less than what they're worth because there's nobody to buy them. There's less entrepreneurs. There's less. There's not enough people with the experience to do it. There's a lot of companies that don't have a bullpen. There's no succession plan set up. And how are you going to have a successful company? We only have like 1 or 2 clients left looking for remote US based employees. And a lot of that has to do with their clients say that they have to have US based employees. They have to have a green card, or they have to have citizenship in the United States to work there. That's the only reason. Otherwise, everything's being shipped off. They're telling you to get back in the office. Even Disney is telling everybody to get back in the office. Disney, that is like the most progressive company. And they're like, no, everybody get back. So it's been a massive change in the environment. And I have a lot of friends in the IT world, and I've been begging them for like over a year. I'm like, guys, if they ask you to go back in the office, don't be a thorn in their side. Just say absolutely. Be like, oh yeah, sure. Sounds good. No problem. They're like, no, we're never going back. And a lot of them lost their jobs because they decided they didn't want to drive 15 minutes to the office. I'm like, well, you're going to regret that.
So two points there. We were just talking about nearshoring. Do you think that when organizations nearshore some of their top talent, that they're automatically setting up their organization to fail by not putting in a succession plan, not having these people in an office that they can train as being a leader?
I would say one, it doesn't depend on the other. If you have a top talent, you don't move on from it. But also remember, top talents are normally affecting the top line, not the cost line, right? So you may be the best developer in the world, but I can get a developer at 80% of your efficiency for a half the cost. You're not worth that much. Versus, say, sales. Sales is always it's my favorite people to talk about. They're never going to fire you if you're making money. It's just not going to happen. If that's the company, you're happy they fired you because that's a bad company to work for. You never get rid of people that increase the top line. So when you really look at leaders, a developer, God love them, they're not always the most vocal. They're not always the most participatory. They normally like to just do their job and go home. Are they really a leader in that company? Now, not to say that they can't be. Some of them have great personalities. Like one of my best friends, he's a project manager. And honestly, if you didn't actually know what he did for work, his personality is so like big, you would never imagine he's in IT. You'd think he's a sports agent with the way he talks. And that is a great person to groom for leadership because he's got the personality. People can gravitate to that. And a lot of that is that you don't know what you have if they're at home. So all nearshore is going to do is it's going to help companies stay in the black. It's not going to grow your revenue. That's not the purpose of it. You want your company spending as much time as possible growing revenue. And if you're a cost to the company, you better find an ROI associated to what they're paying you. Because if you don't, they will replace you.
How do you think that impacts the U.S. labor market?
I would say like every 10 or 15 years, there's a shift. Every 10 or 15 years, there's some sort of shift. I remember at one point, the richest people in the United States were mortgage brokers and real estate agents. And now they're not. Everything's cyclical. Everything's going to change. If you never refine your skill set, you're going to get replaced. Like a lot of my developer friends are all looking into AI and how they can become AI architects. If you're not, you're going to get replaced, right? If you're a cashier at McDonald's, you've already been replaced. If you're a teller at the bank, you've been replaced. Their companies will always find a more effective way to do something, no matter how great you are. If there is a more affordable option, they're going to try it out. And it's not even that it's unfortunate. We just have to always be evolving as people. And it's very cold to say it that way, but just take a look at like every industry we look at is looking into automation. Automation means faster and easier. Faster and easier means less people, right? The only thing that can mess up an assembly line is my hands, right? Like once there's a problem, it shuts off automatically on its own, and boom, they fix the problem, they move on. So instead of needing 50 people on the assembly line, you need 3 mechanics to fix whatever widget broke. So I tell everybody, just try to pay attention to what's going on. Try to stay up to date on current events. See what the initiatives are of companies, of administrations, and ask yourself, where do I fall in this? And then if at the end of the day, I would always encourage entrepreneurship. We don't have enough people in the entrepreneurial space. We don't have enough people with that mindset. Don't follow, go lead. We need more. We need more leaders out there. A lot more leaders.
There's a lot of people out there. It kind of goes back to the leadership vacuum, right? There's a lot of people out there who don't necessarily understand the skill set or drive or whatever is required in order for you to be an entrepreneur, to step out from getting your regular salary and benefits to doing something that is completely unknown and kind of, fledging your own way. It is a very different world. It is very freeing in the fact that the autonomy belongs solely to you, but there are a lot of things that you need to consider prior to making that step.
Yeah. So with that being said, so I would look at it one of two ways. A lot of entrepreneurs start on accident. Right. Somebody will ask them, hey, do you know, like a lot of developer friends, like, hey, man, I was thinking about this app. Can you help me out with it? And like, yeah, cool. I'll help them build an app. Just instead of charging them, go 50-50 on them. Like, hey, I'll develop it for you. It's your idea. We'll split it 50-50 on what we can do with it. You're an entrepreneur. You didn't have to quit your day job to be an entrepreneur. You can do that in your spare time. Put down Madden for 10 minutes and develop something. The other one is, we kind of touched on it earlier. There are a lot of boomers selling their businesses. You can go to the SBA right now and buy a business for 10% down with an SBA loan. If you find a business that's already cash flowing and you already have a background in that, you're an entrepreneur. You just bought a business. It's cash flowing already. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. All now what you got to do is use your intelligence, use your background, use your experience to make the company better. Now, if you can't make it better, don't buy the company, right? Don't go make it worse. But yeah, the options are there. A lot of it is what I've noticed, especially in this country, is complacency is rabid. People are so quick to get comfortable. Don't get comfortable. Do something different. Always switch it up. The more you get comfortable, the more you start dying. Don't. Go get hungry. Go do something. And you'll see a big change in your life. Your relationship with your spouse will change. Your relationship with your kids will change. With your friends, they'll look at you differently because now you're a doer. You're not a dreamer. You're not like a guy stuck in the mud. Plus, what happens is when you get complacent, you're gonna get fat. You're gonna get out of shape. You're not gonna take care of yourself. Those are look, I'm almost 40. I'm telling you right now that happens. Don't let it happen. Go to the gym. Go meet people. Go get out of the house. Don't be that. Don't get complacent. Don't be a loser. Go do stuff, and your life will change pretty quickly.
I love that perspective. Yeah, complacency is kind of the killer of creativity. And growth. Like if you become complacent with where you are in a position, you stop learning the skills around you that keep you relevant in any sort of marketplace. So yeah, I would agree. Well, this has been a great conversation. I give all of my guests 90 seconds at the end of each one of my podcasts to pitch anything that they're passionate about. So this could be CTI, this could be buying a business in entrepreneurship, this could be finding mentorship. But without further ado, the next 90 seconds are yours.
Awesome. So what I would say, something that's passionate for me is just be the best version of yourself that you can be. Take care of yourself, because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. And, I'm a father of 3 and I can't take care of my kids. I can't take care of my wife. I can't take care of my family if I'm not the best version of myself. So I tell everybody, get to the gym. And whether it's a gym, you can go swimming, play basketball, play golf, play whatever you want. Just get yourself in shape. Lift weights, lift something heavy. One of the biggest things I've seen is in men and women as they get older, when they don't lift or they don't stay strong, they deteriorate so fast. So I'll tell you, get in the gym, work out. It's great for your brain. It's great for your body. You'll live longer. You want to see your kids and grandkids get older. Work on that. Work on yourself. And I think the better you make yourself, the better you make your family. The better you make your family, the better you make your community. And if everybody kind of took that mindset of what can I do better, we'd have such a great society here. And I think that is what I'd love to see as a whole, is that. And on the business side, if there's anything that I can do to help you, if you have any questions about nearshore, because nearshore is intimidating if you don't know about it. If you have any questions about IT, if you have any questions about staffing in general, like, hey, I'm thinking about growing my company, I'm not sure what to do, reach out to me, hit me up on LinkedIn, call my cell, email me, whatever. All my information's out there. If you can't find me, you're not trying. So if you ever have any questions, I'm more than happy to do it. most importantly, if you want to get 18 holes in, let me know. That's my bread and butter. I'm an avid golfer. Love to get out there and play golf. If you want to talk business on the golf course, I'm that guy. So I don't know if that was 90 seconds or not, but that's all I got for you.
Love that. Thank you so much.
That was a pleasure, buddy. Thank you very much, man.